Hey, I'm Finnegan, and this is the Hot Rod Garage. This is the spot that Hot Rod Magazine gets together inside of to wrench on their projects, test out new parts, and pretty much blow stuff up. There's one big difference between this shop and other ones, though. We got a punk band. So here's what's cracking in episode 1. First, we're gonna drop a blown small block Chevy into a 1974 Jaguar XJ12. I'm serious. We're talking dual Holley carbs, a YN 671 blower, aluminum heads, forged pistons. This thing is a beast, and probably when it's done, it's gonna blow up the rest of the drivetrain. After that, we're gonna bring my wife's El Camino in here, and we're gonna swap out the 40-year-old Turbo 350 transmission for a late model Gearstar 4L60E electronic overdrive transmission. We're also gonna swap out a bashed-in set of headers, and when we're done, we're gonna cause some mayhem and do some burnouts. But right now, we're gonna hook up with George Rabbit for a Lincoln Tech tech tip.
Hi, I'm George Rabbit from Lincoln Tech, and this is an engine dyno. A water brake dyno is a service tool that applies a load to an operating engine. It makes sure the engine has no deficiencies and it's ready to run. It's also a valuable tuning tool, enabling us to extract maximum performance from an operating engine. A dyno operates in a controlled environment that we call an operating cell. The weather conditions inside the cell are constantly monitored by a computer. The computer establishes a standard that we can use to compare this engine to one being tested in New York or anywhere in between. Beyond making sure the engine's ready to run, the dyno is also useful in trying out new parts and making tune-up adjustments. Once the dyno testing is complete and the engine's been given a clean bill of health, it's now ready to install in the vehicle.
Lincoln Tech can teach you how to have a career working with cars. See lincolnedu.com.
For our first Roadkill Project car update, we're giving you the Draguar. And you've been begging for this for a long time, and frankly, we've just been lazy about it, but we are finally going to repower our 1974 Jaguar XJ12.
Oh, you've correct pronunciation even.
Minimizing the hate mail.
Okay. If you guys don't know what the Draguar is all about, this was in episode 7 of our Roadkill show. And as he said, it's a 74 XJ12, which apparently is kind of a rare car and it offends Jaguar people, or Jaguar people, that we tore it up. But we flew up to San Francisco, bought the thing from the guys from White Flag Racing. It already had a small block Chevy in it. And so we threw a YN 671 blower on it in the parking lot at Gatelli Speed Shop. But that didn't end so well, because you see, our worthless bone stock old boat motor that was in the thing ended up going into nuclear meltdown. I think the Japanese nuclear plant probably has a cooler core than that thing still does. And so the Draguar became junk. But then Finnegan put together a new motor for it.
Yeah, this is the greatest bad idea we've ever had.
It really is.
This is a Blueprint Engines forged 383 cubic inch long block that is rated for 600 horsepower.
And so?
So I went to the dyno and turned the wick up until we made almost 700 horsepower.
But we're not going to put it in the car like that, because that's a recipe for explosion on this stock block.
Yeah, this thing at 8 pounds of boost makes about 640 horsepower. I flopped the pulleys, you know, little one up top, man style, the way it should be, and it only picked up 50 more horsepower with all that hot air, but it made 696 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, and then we came to our senses and turned it back down to 8 pounds of boost, and it makes 640 horsepower still, which is plenty to blow up the stock transmission.
Oh yeah, that thing is a complete goner. So this thing isn't going to be pretty, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, let's put it in.
This is our custom wheel blow transmission. It's our Turbo 350, it's a goner.
It's a Wilbo 350?
Yeah, wheel blow.
All right, so we're gonna put the converter in, And you want to make sure this thing is all the way seated into the pump. Otherwise, it will blow. And you're going to hear several clunks, 3, right?
Yeah, you want to do the spin and wiggle while you're pushing it in to make sure it's well back from the bell housing flange.
You hold that. Yep. There you go. 2.
There's 1, 2, 3.
And you smash your fingers like I'm doing. When
you know
it's fully
why?
seated.
That's because this is the unacceptable 12-inch converter. If you had the proper 9-inch or 8-inch converter in it, you'd be fine.
But you'll also hear the pump click when it turns. Ready? So we've got to build new plug wires, and we've got these 8.5 millimeter superconductor wires from MSD. And they were kind enough to include this plastic stripping and crimping device, which is really cool. You just slide the wire in there, grab yourself a razor blade, spin the wire, and just like that, all stripped to the exact length you need. These are dual crimp terminals. They grip the sheath of the wire and the conductor at the same time. And you should really use a set of needle nose pliers to crimp the first end of it, but I don't have those on me, so I'm gonna cheat. There we go. And then you just set that in there and smash it in the provided tool. And then dip it in some spark guard here to protect it from moisture and to make installing the boot that much easier. All right, it's crimped, the boot is on, it's ready to go on the car. When you don't have a high dollar set of wire separators, zip ties are an excellent substitute. All you do is take one tie, wrap it around the wires you want to separate, then take another tie, run it between the wires, and wrap it around the zip tie you just installed. And just like that, wire separator. Cut the tails off, and you're all done. Impress your friends. Go drag racing. Look at that. It's rare that something this stylish is also functional. Usually, you pay extra for that.
This is where we show you stuff you had no idea that you could do with a spray can. Duplicolor makes all kinds of things like that. Check this out. Spray on carbon fiber. Makes your junk lighter and faster. Actually, it doesn't. This just makes it look like carbon fiber, and sometimes you gotta do that if you have like a carbon fiber hood and you want some trim near it to look right, and so we're gonna find out how well it works. It will work on both plastic and metal. What I've got here is your standard cruising model Taiwan chrome air cleaner lid. I've already sandblasted and metal prepped it so that it's grease-free. To prevent fish eyes, I always like to just fog sort of a light coat on and let that dry and stick before I really lay it on heavy. So I'm gonna break out the Duplicolor Dimensional Effects template, which looks a lot like that stuff that you use to line your kitchen shelves. I feel like Julia Child right now. So you use this as a template to conform to the shape of the thing that you're painting, because we're gonna spray paint through this to put on that carbon fiber pattern. The unveiling, whoa, that worked mint. You should look at this, it's actually perfect. Wow. I'm genuinely impressed.
Here's where we're at. She's wired, she's not plumbed, and the front accessories are only mostly attached because, as Freiberger discovered, Chinese, Taiwanese, and US-made parts don't all jive together. Ever.
Amazing thing is,
Ever.
They've only made small block Chevys for 60 years. And the aftermarket has not figured out how to make a water pump that fits with an alternator, that fits with a power steering bracket, that fits with a stock pulley.
So once we get all that working properly, we'll put the radiator in it, put some fuel in it, fire it up, break the transmission, and go to the drag strip.
In that order?
Yeah.
Let's go to the drag strip, then break the transmission.
Yeah.
ignition on, or are you just gonna crank fuel?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
This might suck.
What did you do?
Do anything. Get ready to lose your arm hair.
Yeah. It runs. Let's race it before something breaks. Last time in the Duplicolor Minute, we showed you stuff that you didn't know that you could do with a spray can. This time, it's gonna be more about, wow, I can't believe how far spray paint has come. Remember the 80s? You used to buy junk rally wheels and you'd fog them with like that aluminum color spray paint? Well, I think this is gonna be a whole lot better than that. I still have my Sconji rally wheel that I bought for dirt cheap, and I still want it to look good, but now I'm gonna find out how well it works with this Duplicolor Hyper Silver 2-part coating system. I start off with a real light coat. Once again, trying to avoid fish eyes by getting the paint to just get a real light sort of settle onto the wheel. It's just been like 10 minutes and this thing is already dry to the touch, just a little bit of tack to it, and it looks really good. I would be tempted to just leave it the way it is, but the Duplicolor Hyper Silver kit comes with a glossy clear coat, and they say not only does this thing make it look deeper, but it's actually gonna protect the finish and make it last longer. I should probably be wearing a respirator, but I have no brain cells left to kill. I have not painted a wheel in a long time, but this was easy enough that I might actually do the other 3 that go to this set. And for me, that's saying something, because that's another hour out of my life that I just don't have. But it would be worth it, because that is a simple way to spruce up your car in no time at all.
All right, this is our 1969 Chevy El Camino, which has a new engine, but the original transmission, which is leaking, and I don't even know how it's still shifting because I literally threw it in park in 10 miles an hour once trying to stop it.
We tried hard to blow it up, but failed. But it doesn't matter, because we need overdrive. We're gonna throw in a Gearstar 4L60E, which is a 4-speed electronic overdrive, really common and popular swap. While we're at it, we're gonna put in some Hedman mid-length headers that don't drag the ground like the current exhaust system. And we're gonna control it all with a brand new MSD Atomic trans controller, which you can use from inside your car.
Easy enough to install that even we can do this.
Well, let's find out. It might not be.
I just cursed us. Okay.
Okay. While Finnegan's pulling the headers out of the car, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our new transmission. This thing is from Gearstar. Every time we have put a new automatic transmission in a roadkill vehicle, it's been a Gearstar unit. We got them in the Super Bee, the Ranchero, the Crusher Camaro. It's good stuff. Think of them sort of like a professional engine building shop, except for they do transmissions. They have one guy who follows the transmission all the way through the assembly process, and then they dyno it. They put like 100 miles on it on the dyno to make sure that the trans and the converter are working before they ship it. This one is a 4L60E. It's really just like a 700R4, except it doesn't use the throttle valve cable, which is a pain in the neck. Instead, it uses an electronic control with a computer that I'll show you later. The 4L60Es that go on a traditional small block Chevy have a one-piece bell housing like this. The later ones are two-piece, and those are for the LS engines. And when these are shipped from Gearstar, they come complete with a Yank converter. This one is a billet 10-inch, because this is the unit that will handle 650 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque. This thing is like $3,900. They make models of the 4L60E all the way down to 2,400, and that one will handle 450 horsepower, 425 pound-feet. When they send them out, they come not only with the converter completely installed because it's been on the dyno, but they'll also send you exactly the right amount of fluid to put in the thing. It'll have all the connectors that you need. If you ask for it, you'll even get a dipstick torque converter bolts. It's like a whole tranny in a crate ready to slam into your garbage. This is where we are going to answer your questions that you post on our Facebook page.
Dale Cocking wants to know what car to get because he's 17 and only has $2,500. Fox body Mustang, sir.
Yeah.
Dirt cheap and really fast.
Pretty solid, yep. Another good one, square body Chevy pickup. You can pick those up anywhere. Even if it's a long bed, you can buy that, mess with it for a while, and hack the thing down to a short bed later.
Yeah. Actually, you don't have to hack it anymore. You can buy bedsides and a floor now. You can bolt it together.
But when you're 17, you should learn to weld.
I agree. What happened to you?
I suck. High school auto shop didn't have a welding program.
Oh, damn you, Burbank.
I can stick stuff together.
Damn you.
Oh, on YouTube, Hemi600 Crate asks, what the F is going on with your Hemi 55 Chevy? And it sounds like he at least has one.
Brilliant things, actually. So the Hemi, which now displaces 528 cubic inches, makes 700 horsepower and 700 pound-feet of torque. It's in the car, waiting on you to finish it. What the hell are you doing, man?
What month is this right now? Are we still in April? And it's got to go on Power Tour in June. That's what's going on with the 55, right?
Yep.
George Knight from YouTube wants to know, why does our beat-up garbage get more views than the supercars that they review on MotorTrend?
It's like watching a train wreck, I think, with us, more than anything. You don't want to watch it. You got better things to do, but you can't help it. Because something's going to fall off and we're going to crash.
Yes, there's no real risk of death in a brand new supercar that's been delivered to you on a red carpet along with a wine and cheese tour.
Daniel Pedersen would like to know if we build cars that are not on any of the shows we do.
No.
No, pretty much we don't have any time for that.
Yeah, you're watching our entire life on your screen. There is no moment outside of making these videos for us to tinker with junk.
No. I tinker with my wife a little.
That's on film too, but it's not on YouTube.
So here's a couple more interesting things about this transmission. Gearstar built it with a custom converter from Yank Converters. Dave Meyer actually spec'd himself. Should stall at 2,600 RPM. It's perfect for this car that'll spend most of its life on the highway and occasionally see the autocross and drag strip. Dave told you before that you can tell this is an early model case because it doesn't have a removable bell housing. You can also tell that it's an early model 4L60E because it's got a 4-bolt output flange. The late model ones have 6-bolt output flanges. And it's been modified to drive a mechanical speedo. Also has a VSS sensor to drive an electronic one if you want to.
And what this is going to give us is overdrive. I think it's a 0.7 to 1 fourth gear, and it has a lockup converter that we'll be able to control exactly when we want it to lock with the little hand-controlled chingas.
And it should actually feel like it has 400 horsepower now because every gear is lower in this thing.
That's true. And then when we put the 373 in the back, we'll be A-OK.
Yeah.
Install it.
All right. The atomic transmission controller is in. Freiberg is working on the transmission cooler. I'm going to wrap up the wiring, and right now it's a good time for some music from the band and a message from Gum Out.
Did you know that the fuel that gives your engine life is also responsible for slowly killing it? Combustion creates carbon deposits that can build up on your engine parts, causing performance issues, and some parts are much harder to clean than others. During combustion, engine temperatures can get as high as 495 degrees. Not all fuel additives can stand that kind of heat. Gum Out Complete Fuel System Cleaners can. All-in-one, Regain High Mileage, and Multi-System Tune-Up all use PEA. PEA remains stable in high heat, allowing it to remove carbon deposits from hard-to-clean parts, like direct fuel injectors, piston tops, and the combustion chamber. But that's not the only way fuel negatively affects your engine. Modern gasoline can contain up to 10% ethanol, a solvent that attracts water and leads to corrosion. Gum Out fights the damaging effects of ethanol, helping to protect critical parts to extend engine life. Find out more at gumout.com.
This is a Hedman mid-length header, and I love these things. I had them on my Impala. Probably not the best for power production because the tubes aren't really long, but these are the best for not dragging the ground. Wow. Okay, and both of them dropped in from the top with the motor mounts and everything hooked up. That is incredible.
Here's the outlet from our old header. It's a flat flange, uses a gasket to seal, drags on the ground, gets warped, eventually leaks. It sucks. Our new header design has a ball and socket receiver on the outlet. This seals much better, and because the headers are shorter, they're higher up and they're not gonna drag on the ground. But we've got to weld new pipes together to put that in there. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna weld together this section of 45-degree mandrel bent tubing, add another bung in there for the O2 sensor, and the exhaust system will be done. And all that leaves for us is to connect our shifter, do a little bit of wiring inside, shorten the drive shaft, and hit the road. This is the best part of the show right here. This is when we get into CNC machinery, TIG welding, titanium, all of the sexy stuff that goes into car building. And we've got Colin Meyer from ToxicFab.com here to talk about his amazing TIG welded stainless steel headers and these badass collectors.
This is one of the 4-to-1 collectors. That's a solid billet chunk that's been machined on a 5-axis CNC machine. And this is kind of what the finished product looks like using one of them. This is just a standard Evo bottom mount for a precision turbo, Garrett turbo, and you know, it really does cut down on the manufacturing process. It makes it not only stronger, but more consistent, because it is the same part going into the fixture every time, and you can really get crazy and creative with angles to, you know, change flow and everything like that to increase power that you simply cannot achieve with a hand fabricated part.
I'm not welding like this because my welding skills are, let's be honest, they pretty much suck. So I'm hoping today that Colin is going to give me a few tips here. And how is this going to help me weld better?
This is a Toxic Fab number 14 cup, and really dispersing an even amount of argon over the weld, and you know, it's shielding gas. The whole purpose of it is to protect a reactive metal such as Inconel, titanium, stainless, anything like that. The more gas you have, the better. Yes, we'll start by showing a standard number 5. This is what everybody's used to seeing, and the amount of coverage, you know, of argon flow that you have over the weld to shield it, shielding gas. So we'll do a little fusion pass to show the gas coverage on this, and then we'll throw on the number 14 cup to show, you know, the bigger coverage of argon, pretty much.
And here we're just doing a fusion puddle, so kind of see.
So you can see it's kind of gray and nothing pretty, but you know, just a fusion weld, just kind of running over it with no filler.
Okay.
Then swapping the cup out, have quite a bit more tungsten stick out for visibility, and then really just bump the gas up to, well, right at 30.
You can see the arc is a lot more stable. It's not wandering around nearly as much. When we let off, you see how much is still shielded. And then you can kind of watch that. That's exactly what we're going for with a cup like this.
So the more coverage you have, the farther you can run the stick out?
Yeah, you can run the stick out more to get in, you know, like different angles and stuff. So if you can't really get into something like this exhaust hanger right here, you can really stick it out to see what you're doing, but still maintain coverage, where that would be impossible with a cup like this.
Oh, and I've seen your photos on Instagram, and the welds are insane. What do I have to do, you know?
I think I'll let my friend Chris Davenport, I brought from Race Proven Motorsports, I'll let him do some talking about that.
For me, the main thing on welding, I think, like, to get a really consistent weld is feeding the rod. Like, that's a big factor. So how I do it, I just pinch it. It's just slight little dabs.
Let me see.
All right.
Yeah, and you've changed cups here, it looks like. So what's the benefit of the titanium?
You could just not worry about breaking, you know, you could just throw the thing around.
What do you just sit at home on the couch and practice
Yep.
that? Or what? Okay. I can't tell if it's moving,
Yeah, it's moving
forward. Is it? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. And probably overheating everything.
Yeah.
God, that's not easy, but I can totally see the benefit of doing that versus doing this over and over again. Well, I need to practice, obviously.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tips. So early model 4L60s bolt right up to the back of small block Chevys because they're essentially 700R Ford transmissions with electronic solenoids and actuators working the valve body. We had to shorten our drive shaft, and then we actually reused the stock crossmember. We just slotted the bolt holes in it, moved it back, and used a couple of holes that were already in the chassis there. The last thing we had to do to really fit this thing in there well is we beat the hell out of the transmission tunnel right where the vehicle speed sensor pokes out the side, giving us just enough clearance where the wires don't rub.
The car came with a column shifter designed for a 3-speed transmission, and so you got to do something to make the 4-speed work. There's a couple of options. You can get like an aftermarket floor shifter with a cable that's designed for the 4-speed. You can also get a little cable doohickey that goes on the end of the column to control the transmission, but we went way simpler than that. Locar makes this kit, which is essentially a rod with rod ends on it that connects the original steering column tab down to the transmission, and it has an adjustable length arm on it so that you can actually get all 4 gears on the column.
All right, the new pipes are in. I'm gonna throw a little bit of anti-seize on this O2 sensor. Thread that in the pipe. That means the exhaust is finished. Freiberger's working on the shifter linkage right now. Once that's done, we're gonna road test the El Camino. All right, we're back at Fontana Raceway here with the Draguar, and I'm not gonna lie, all of this wood grain and imitation sheepskin is not making me feel good about driving this car, because the first time I went down this track with it, it tried to put itself in the wall. Oh, whoa, oh God, that's scary. Since then, we fixed the rear suspension, repaired the sheet metal, put some new shoes on it, and now, with triple the horsepower, we're gonna find out how quick this car can really go. All right, so here's the situation. It's got 700 horsepower and a rusty Jaguar. It's already tried to crash once. Uh-oh. Okay, I guess I left in second, and that's his high gear. So, there's something going on with the shifter. I'm gonna try to put it in first on the way back. If I can, then I'll come back and do another run. Whoa, all right, it's a little scary when you get on the brakes. So here's what we've learned. The Draguar, with triple the horsepower that it had originally, is now the destroyer of transmissions. The fact is, this thing slipped in first gear, second gear, third gear, and gave up the entire ghost right at the finish line, and still managed to go 1250. That's pretty damn good. This is a $10,000 car that runs mid-12s and looks cooler than anything else on the highway. We're gonna have to address the trans later on, but at least we now know the rear suspension and sheet metal and 2 tires are working. So we track tested the Draguar, and that went as expected. Now we're gonna hit the streets in my wife's El Camino with its brand new Gearstar 4L60E. This car rips now. Thanks to the yank converter and Gearstar trans, the Elco finally drives like it's really got 420 horsepower under the hood. It still does a one-wheel peel, but man, it shifts good. It doesn't leak. The trans has got a warranty. I fixed that open differential, and my wife might actually want to give me some nookie in this car. Or she'll just keep holding out for that paint job she's been begging for like the last 8 years. Well, that's it for this edition of Hot Rod Garage presented by Lincoln Tech. We had a killer time beating on poor defenseless automobiles like the Draguar here and my wife's El Camino. We'll see you next month.